All right. What's good, everybody? How are we feeling? Let's see. It is Sunday, March 23rd, 2025, and I know what you're thinking. This is not the voice that you all expected. Usually, Reek opens up the show. Usually, he gives the intro, blah, 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 blah. Y'all all thinking, where's Reek? Where's Reek? First off, Reek is cool. He's chill. He's still around. He just had to tag in his tag team partner to run point for this episode, basically. And so when it comes down to everything in the square circle, let me just tell you guys, welcome to the welcome to the Top Rope Boys Pod. It's your boy Steph. And I got some great guests here today. But of course, let me take the time for myself real quick. Let me introduce y'all to anyone who might be new or to all of our returning guests. Like I said, it's your boy Steph, the Bajan Bulldozer, the straight edge superstar, the Chocolate City Saint, the top rope dragon, and the left hand of destruction himself. But anyway, now let me stop being selfish and let me get into my guests. First off, we have my brother from another mother, uh, a legend when it comes to wrestling knowledge, and overall, just a homie, Jacob Sears.
Hey y'all, what's up?
You know, just tell him a little bit. Actually, let's just tell him a little bit about yourself. Tell him your favorite wrestler, and just quick little synopsis on how you got into the medium to begin with.
So I got into wrestling probably about middle school, high school, where my brother and my dad were really into it at first. And at first I was like, what are you guys watching? What is this chaos? And then it was the first ever Money in the Bank pay-per-view. Uh,
Ooh.
and that's my first really big memory of wrestling when Kane won the Money in the Bank briefcase and then cashed in the same night. That's kind of like when I fell in love with it. So I've been a wrestling fan ever since. Watch every show that I can as much as I can. But nowadays, my I used to be a big fan of Kane, but nowadays I'll probably go with also slash Malachi Black. Hope the day he comes back, the day we're all happy.
Hey, we gonna talk about him today, cause all I'm gonna say is keep the foes up, keep the foes up. Anyway, uh, secondly, we have the illustrious, the ever graceful, the Amazonian, some might say, the amazing, the dastardly, ever so witty. Deja, where you at, Deja? Let the people know.
First off, hey. Secondly, very I try to be witty. Thank you. Thank you.
Deja, let the people know who's your favorite wrestler and how'd you get into the medium, real quick.
Okay, my favorite wrestler changes on the daily. As of right
Hmm.
now, female Sasha Banks slash Mercedes Monet. Love her down.
The goat, the
Oh,
CEO.
the GOAT. They can never make me hate her. Male wrestler, y'all already know who it is. Dirty Dom. Dirty Dom.
You
He's
going
he's
we
he's gonna be the one to dethrone Cody. That is my unpopular, problematic opinion. He's gonna do it, guys. I see it.
All right. So as you can see, we got a load of personalities here today. These are our first two guests to ever grace us on the Top Rope Boys pod. And like I said, we talking everything in the square circle this week. And it was a loaded week for wrestling, guys. So I don't know about y'all, but you two ready to go through it?
Yes, so
All right. So first off, let's start with Monday Night Raw. It's the flagship. We got my GOAT, Cena, opening up the show with his first heel promo in like what, 20 years? Something like that.
Something like that.
yeah, about it.
First off, I know everybody in the IWC was talking. They were saying, "Oh, are we going to get a new suit? Are we going to? Is he going to get new drip? Is he going to retire the jorts? Are we going to get a new theme? Blah 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 blah." What did y'all think of all that discourse? Because I know that y'all probably saw a little bit of it.
I'll go first.
Mhm.
First off, I have said John Cena really turned heel back in 2011 when Rey Mysterio won the WWE Championship, and 2 hours later, Cena took that shit right back. That's when he turned heel for me. I ain't gonna lie. Secondly, I also
Valid, valid,
said
valid.
he, in order for his heel attire, should have just been a fruity pebble shirt and the khaki jorts. That right there is heel Cena. The we're not putting anybody over Cena. That right there is heel Cena for me. But overall, solid promo. I enjoyed it. He wasn't talking to me though. I still support him. He wasn't talking to me. I just have to make that clear.
Oh yeah, I was about to say we got broken up with today. We got broken up with on Monday. We
I
going
didn't
through a
get
breakup right now.
I didn't get broken up with. Y'all did, but I didn't.
Look, all I'm saying is C Nation is in shambles right now after what happened in Brussels. And first off, because I was just rewatching it in preparation for this, he comes out, he doesn't even acknowledge Stu. You know how crazy it is that he doesn't acknowledge Stu?
That's the biggest heel tournament I have seen. How are you going to do that with Steel?
That's what I'm saying. I feel bad for Stu. I feel bad for our truth. Like, I feel bad for the kid that was in the front.
Has no one noticed that our truth has not been seen since Caesar's turn heel?
He's probably in therapy right now. Let's be honest. He's probably taking personal time to process what is happening.
Well,
Honestly,
His childhood hero.
I kind of, well, there's this I'm my hot take, but like actually going to turn heel at some point this year to go with the childhood heel. Yeah,
I'm not gonna lie. I love heel our truth. So if they did that, so that way he could mirror Cena, I wouldn't be mad at it.
yeah, I can see that happening. But my thoughts on the heel, like on Monday, I thought I was concerned because typically WWE likes to do a whole flip of character when people turn heel, or just wrestling in general. They like to do a whole flip of who the person is, change his entrance, change his outfit, change everything about the character. And I love the fact that it's still the same old John, but he being truthful. Like he came out in the jorts, came out in the colorful short, the matching hat, had the towel. They changed nothing about him, but he's acting like a heel, and I love
Yeah.
that.
And plus, I think the fact is like I've always been saying like we're in the era of the justified heel. And I don't know, you ask me, he ain't say one goddamn lie. Because think about it, 4 years, like from the start of his career, he was getting booed out the place. When he was wearing the shorts to match every team for every city that they were in, he was getting booed out night after night after night. Then he does the Master of Thugonomics gimmick. I don't care. That's my favorite gimmick of his. Uh, if he brings that back for the retirement tour, I'll be complete. But he does the Master of Thugonomics gimmick. He finally gets the people over his side, and he finally gets over. Cool. But then he becomes Super Cena, and folks start hating him, kind of like how they did with Roman Reigns way later once Vince started pushing him onto once Vince started pushing him to the audience. And then like let's think about it. Because this will always be one of the craziest like things as a wrestling fan I've ever seen. This man John Cena comes out and addresses the WWE universe to say, "Hey, I have to go get neck surgery," and they say, "Bye, boo," and they say, "We are happy to see you going." In my mind, this should have happened a long, long time ago.
It definitely should have happened a long time ago. I mean, I don't know if you guys watched the Vince McMahon documentary, but like Vince
Yeah,
McMahon was really afraid of turning the top stars heel because they were his top stars. Top stars draw money. Like John Cena was the face of the company. Arguably, still, some still say he is, but like doing area appearance, doing Make a Wish, doing like TV show appearances, representing the company. Like Tony and Face then, when Tony and heel then would have ruined all of that for him and the company. So from a financial sense, I get it, but I agree he should have turned heel a long time ago.
most definitely.
I agree. Personally, if you ask me, the time to turn Cena back heel was, I think they keep saying it was around the time him and Rock, was it
Mm,
twice in a lifetime
mhm.
or was it once in a lifetime they were planning on turning heel? Somewhere around there.
I think
But
it
that
was
was
27.
27.
Oh, because no, because 27 was him and Miz. I know
So,
twice in a lifetime was 28. What was once in a lifetime?
uh,
Once in a
no, I
lifetime was
think,
28,
yeah,
twice in a lifetime was 29.
Oh, okay,
yes.
I'm tweaking. My bad.
Then I think the time definitely would have been 29, twice in a lifetime to turn him heel. But
Hmm.
it just goes to show that, like Steph said, we are in the era of the justified heel. That promo, I think, was probably the highlight of Monday Night Raw. I sat there the entire time. It was on the edge of my seat because he did not tell one single lie. And it goes to show that, like, what's the the phrase that everyone keeps saying is if you stay around long enough, you get to see yourself play the villain or something like that. I think it is
Mhm.
the simplest story to tell, but it's so much depth to it, and I'm really just excited to see where it goes. That's all I'm saying. Right now, I'm excited.
Yeah, and I think the biggest thing about it is that not only does this elevate Cena, and not only does this give him a compelling send off for his last year in the WWE, but it also just it shows us where Cody's at in the company, and it shows us how much they trust him as being the new face. That he, like, first off, let's just talk about the crowd in Brussels. They were amazing, and the fact when they start chanting, "We want Cody," and Cena refers to him as their new toy. I think it's an amazing look, and I think it again just shows Cody's status as really the new face, which I know a lot of people after Roman lost the championship were like, is Cody going to be able to fill that spot? Is he going to be able to get people behind him? We can very obviously see that he's able to do that really, really well.
I agree. I think especially when you look at WWE throughout the years, you see like Vince heavily relied on major faces to really hold the company. I think Roman was probably the first time we've seen someone not be a face really lead the company. But I think Cody is gonna really break through that ceiling and make wrestling more mainstream than it was back in the '90s. Like I seen somebody say like this, like you said, it shows that they have a lot of trust in Cody simply because you don't turn your biggest superstar of all time heel for just anybody. Sorry.
Well, so I have two thoughts with what was said. I agree. I like the heel tone is probably the biggest thing for Cody as well. But look at like the long tone. Like John Cena's done December 31st, 2025, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like
Mhm.
look at like all the fresh opportunities of rivalries we've had that we can go back to. Heel Cena versus face CM Punk. Heel Cena versus face Randy Orton. Heel Cena versus face Roman Reigns. Face Seth Rollins.
But Roman technically isn't a face right now.
Uh, I,
Technically, he's not really a face. We just cheer him, but I get what you're saying.
yeah, but like what I'm saying is like John Cena has wrestled half the people who are in WWE today at this point. So on top of like the new opponents that he could be facing, imagine like the story it would tell when we get like a heel Cena versus a face Randy Orton at some point. So we're definitely getting that.
I'm not gonna
Like
lie. That's what the Backlash main event is gonna be. You cannot tell me different, especially since it's in St. Louis.
I I know, but I really want that to be like SummerSlam or something. That needs to be like a big show.
Yeah, honestly, I think. Well, I think since you brought up SummerSlam, I'm not gonna lie, especially after the way he did Punk at the Chamber, that's the SummerSlam main event.
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah. But like, so that just goes into what I'm saying. Like, there's so many different ways like the story can go for him. Like, like he's not going to retire as a heel. I think. So how long is he going to be a heel? When does he turn back into a face? How does he turn back into a face? So like looking at something like the long like to the field goal, which is December 31st, the last date in the calendar year, which he said he's going to retire. The journey to that date was probably going to be some sort of like farewell John Cena PLE because we know they love doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Like a journey to that date is going to be a roller coaster, and I'm on board, all set for it. And I think this is just the best way to tip it off.
Oh no, I 100% agree. Also, since we're talking John Cena and PLEs, I would like to make a notion. I think that Survivor Series should be in DC this year. I don't care.
Be what?
I, I think that Survivor Series should be in DC this year.
Okay.
I, I'll explain later on. I'll explain another day because we have a lot to get into. But I think, especially after uh the way how everyone was reacting online about crowds when SmackDown was in DC on Valentine's Day, Yeah, Survivor Series should be in DC this year or bring back Capital Punishment. But regardless, um, let's
And
get
this
to the rest.
political
Go ahead.
economy. You want to bring back capital punishment?
Oh,
You really want to bring that back? You
do
remember
you
the
not
last when they had a fake Obama there?
do you not remember the graphics for it when they had the cartoon looking Obama there on it
Yeah,
as a
yeah,
referee?
that's fair.
I mean,
That's
it's
fair.
gonna be hilarious if they do, but like, that's gonna be some serious bad. Do
I
you know
think
the
there's a
relationship between Trump and the WWE?
You're a very, very great point. Amazing point. However, I think that there are ways. You know what? Actually, no. Once you think of our current administration, their relationship with the WWE, yeah, let's not bring back capital punishment.
Do you
However,
know? Do you know who the Department of Education is right now?
no, I'm very well aware.
Dismantlement.
Um, as someone who works in the education field, I'm very well aware of who my higher up boss is right now.
Oh, don't say that stuff. You just ruined my day. So because she's looking my high up then.
Yeah.
Uh
But anyway, yo, now you got me completely off track. Oh, real quick, I will say this before we move on to the rest of Raw. If we're talking OPLEs, bring back Cyber Sunday. I think that would work amazingly well in 2025.
oh yeah, that'd be great. I always love the idea of Cyber Sunday.
It would be
Yes.
great. However, comma, I could just see the IWC going being like this shit sucks. We didn't get anything we want. Which side note, can I say this? And I realized this the other day when I was looking at somebody's posts. It was I think it was Dave Meltzer saying like, oh, the match with and I'm sure we'll talk about it later, but the match with CM Punk and Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins has no history. This is the dumbest
Oh
shit ever.
yeah, that
There's
was. Oh
people in
my
the
God, that
comments and I said maybe this is where I log out of Twitter. Maybe this is when I log out. Maybe I'm too far into the IWC. Cause what?
that was the dumbest shit ever because being my seeing as how like CM Punk is also one of my goats, and the Shield is like my favorite faction of all time. I was like, do you? I was like, this is the most history I think out of any feud that's
Yeah.
being set up right now.
Literally, literally. Daddy H loves him some long term storytelling. I said this is probably the most long term storytelling like match and build we've had in throughout his like what 3 years of running everything
Has
now.
it
Yeah,
has it really been 3 years? Holy
I
crap.
think it's like I think it's been I think it's nearing on two because Vince left SummerSlam 2022 or
No, 20
23.
SummerSlam of 22, I think, is when Triple H took over.
When
Okay,
did
so yeah,
Damage
that
Control
is it's
debut?
coming on three.
Yeah, I think that's about when Triple H took over. So
No,
yeah.
I think it was I think it was 3 years ago. It was Damage Control, and then I think it was the same SummerSlam that had the uh Lesnar and Wayne match with the
The
huge trap.
bulldozer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're going on
Yeah,
it's going on 3 years this year.
Oh my
yeah, it's been.
God.
Oh yeah. Anyway, so then after Cody and Cena have their segment, we have Penta versus Ludwig. Now, Penta is one of my favorite new superstars in the WWE, and this feud that they've been building between him and Ludwig was amazing. Also, I think this episode, out of any episode from Raw, has been the most in terms of Penta's development as a character for the WWE, if that makes any sense. Between this match, what the end of the episode, which we're going to talk about, obviously, and then Dom suggesting that he joined Judgment Day to push their storyline. I feel like right under Cena and Cody, Penta was the star of this week's Raw.
Agreed.
I mean, so I don't know if you guys haven't seen reports, but like apparently Penta is one of the, like the big names that they love looking at to lead the company. Like and
Really?
likely so. Like yeah, like apparently like the big heads in the company are like really favorable on him as like a talent. So like and it's I mean I don't know. I watched it independent stuff. He's amazing.
Uh,
Lucha Underground, legendary. So
his
like
Lucha Underground run was so good.
it
Even the
was
stuff that he was doing, I will always say that my favorite match of his is the one against the Young Bucks from when he was in AEW.
mhm. But like so like him like they need to put him in a direction in a direction, right? Like
Uh,
with the reports of like Ray Phoenix coming and all this other stuff. They can't put them together right now. They need to give him like a big push. They can't do the world title route because that one they don't want people fans to start hating him, and that's the way product it is. But like they need an episode like this to highlight him, and I think, like you said, this was a great development for him as a him showcasing him to the fans. And I'm excited for what will come with WrestleMania with him and the IC title because ooh, that whoever match he's in at WrestleMania is gonna be fire.
Absolutely. And so so let's just talk about this. So the no holds bar match goes on. Him and Kaiser go at it back and forth for a little bit. Penta got the dub, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Penta got the dub. And so he first off, he gives one of the best promos that we've seen since he's been in the WWE, announces that he's going for the IC title. And the reason I will yeah, screw it. We'll just jump ahead a little bit. So him and Braun end the episode with their face off. Um with their face off over the IC title, and it just got confirmed like a couple hours ago that that matchup is going to happen tomorrow on Raw. So I fully believe that that match is going to end up in a DQ or something, so that way it can set up the match at Mania. Like Ludwig or
Hmm.
someone is going to interfere, whether it be Ludwig, whether it be Butch, because Butch was a part of that storyline for a little minute. I don't think that this match is going to end clean at all. However, and I do want to talk about this a little bit later, we are setting up too many multi-man matches for this Mania, if you ask me. But that is just my personal opinion.
I disagree because, and I seen this the other day, because if you can tell, I'm chronically online, guys. I think someone said the pitch could possibly be Finn, Dom, Styles, Paul, Breaker, and Penta for the IC title, possibly, and I hope they do it for a ladder match at Mania. And it's been some time since we've had a ladder match at Mania. So it
Didn't
could
we have
be,
the tag team ladder match last year?
well, I mean, yeah,
But
I
I,
forgot about that. Okay, then correction. Like a singles ladder match at Mania. I feel like the last one
Okay,
was what, Mania 31?
I think I was Zack
somewhere around there.
Ryder
Yeah,
winning the title.
No, then that was Mania 32. Zack Ryder won that one. So
yeah,
yes, it could be a lot of multi-man matches. However, if you spice it up a little bit with the ladder match, then it basically cancels it out.
that's fair.
So
That's fair.
I agree with Deidre. I think you can't have too many multi. I mean, I think there's a fine line. You can't have every single match be a multi-person match. Like that just wouldn't make sense story wise. But like, look, I think this is the big issue with WWE and AEW in general. It just they have too many stars. Like,
Yeah,
I mean, like think about the people who don't even have like matches right now at WrestleMania. Bailey. Think about technically Finn Balor, Dominic Mysterio,
Liv Morgan
Sheamus,
doesn't have a match right now.
Liv Morgan.
Insane to me.
Oh, like there's so many stars like in most companies that it's like you have to like make them all happy. So like multi-person matches are the best way to do that. I mean, who doesn't want the dream when you go into wrestling? I feel like is to wrestle at WrestleMania, right? That's like the
Yeah,
that's like the Super Bowl. That's like the
yeah.
NBA Finals. That's like the World Cup, the World Series.
It's the
So
peak
like
of everyone's career.
yes. So like multi-man matches, yeah, you can have too much. Like if you make them different, like how Deja was saying, like with the loud matches or like with like different situations, and it makes it more less stale. Like I honestly think the loud match, the Intercontinental Championship and the loud match is at WrestleMania is perfect. Like you look back at the history of wrestling. Scott Hall versus Shawn Michaels. WrestleMania 31 ladder match. Like when you think WrestleMania and the IC title, I typically think of a ladder match. And I love the idea of it going back to the title, going back to that match. And I honestly think we see the Judgment Day in it as well, but not how we know them today.
Mm. Yes, yes. I think I know where you're getting at, and we will talk about that in a little bit. We're gonna speed run through the rest of Raw real quick. So we talked about Dom and we talked about Finn. So let's talk about them pushing that storyline for the split because the writing is on the wall. The Judgment Day is definitely going to have a giant shakeup, especially with JD out and Finn looking like first off, it's hard being a Finn Balor fan right now because that man is Finn Balor.
It is
That man
hard being a Balor fan. Oh my gosh.
bring back my demon prince.
I know you guys seen the post going around where it's like showing they're like I think it was 2017 fit and they're like this man had the most amount of aura and it will forever piss me off how they didn't capitalize off of that.
Yeah. And so what is so honestly, I think that I really thought that Dom was gonna slime Finn out and like backdoor him and just betray him this week. Especially especially with how furious Finn was after Dom had suggested that Penta be the new member of the Judgment Day, which I'm sorry, as soon as Dom suggested that, I laughed so hard. I was like, what makes you think? I was like, Dom must be smoking crack.
Not too much
Like,
Lego.
He's in the back of the Morgan smoking it up.
Not
but
too much Lego, guys.
I'm sorry, but that was just such an insane idea. But whatever, cool. So it made I think yeah, I think if we have that story pushing in, and if it is pushing to a multi-man ladder match, sure, I'm with it. Cool. But I feel like the writing is on the wall that Penta's going to be the next one to hold the IC title. However, if Dom takes it off him afterwards, because the only thing that makes me think that Dom is going to get a title very, very, very soon, that goddamn homage to Eddie Guerrero with him holding the belt.
Mm.
You're upset that he's paying tribute to his father?
I am not. I love it so much. I really, really love it. But and the funny thing is, I said this. I think I said this like last episode. Dom is doing better at paying homage to Eddie than his own daughter, who was in the business, was, in my opinion. Because
Yeah.
the way how H is just like, hey, everything that the folks loved about Eddie, we're gonna put on you. It's working. It's incredibly working. And again, like Deja said, he loves long-term storytelling. So obviously, this is all just long-term from the ladder match. Because when you think about it, Dom is a 20-year vet.
He is.
Oh God.
He's
Yeah.
a 20-year vet. He's been doing this 20 plus years, guys. Put some respect on his name.
So I don't know how, like I think the split is coming. I don't know how they get plan on doing it. I don't know who they're going to tone face and who they're going to tone
Yeah.
heel because like part of me thinks they're going to go with like you're saying stuff and tone Dominic keep face like they did with Eddie. However, I think they're also like hinting at the demon with Tony as well, and he was a face, I believe, if I remember correctly. Well, he was both, but
Yes.
he was mostly a face. So like
Yeah.
I don't know, like it's obviously going to happen soon. I don't know what the path is. I don't know if it goes through the ladder match at WrestleMania. I can see it not doing that, but I think it will. I think it will. I think, I think tomorrow we're going to see. I think we see the Judgment Day in a field in the ladder match in the IC title match more than anything. But in terms of the Judgment Day breaking up, really intrigued to who actually does it and how does it impact the rest of the folks.
Yeah. Uh, I think those are questions that definitely need to be answered soon, more than ever. But actually, yeah, we're kind of yeah. All right. So real quick, last thing, two last things I want to talk about before we end off on Raw. The LWO finally got a win. They finally got a win against the Creed brothers. Hallelujah.
Yay!
Hallelujah. Oh my God.
I'm I'm so confused with what's happening to LWO. Like they like I hate when WWE any group does this when they have a stable and they have a tag team, an established tag team, and then they put two other single stars in it in the group with them, and they make the single stars the tag team. Like
Bro,
I absolutely hate it. Like I'm
the Raw
having
tag team division is in shambles right now, if you ask me. It needs
Yeah,
heavy restructuring, but
I
I,
agree.
Wholeheartedly, I
and
agree.
and I think that Dragon Lee should be in singles competition if you ask me, and that Cruz and Joaquin Wild should be the ones in tags. But whatever,
Yes.
I'll take what I can get when it comes to the LWO because they barely get screen time at all.
Yeah. Like like they need to figure that out. But like, I'm happy they got to win. But like, fuck. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I don't know if I
no,
want to do that.
you're good. But everything flies here. Don't worry about it. And then real quick, just to cap this off, because we can't talk about we can't talk about Raw without talking about main event Jey Uso. So Jey Uso goes up against Austin Theory. Of course, like the last couple weeks, Gunther comes out, chokes him out, the whole thing. But now Jey Uso is going up against A Town Down Under tomorrow in Scotland. I think we all know who his mystery partner is going to be, but go ahead, take your guesses. Who do you think?
Say his name and he
He
appears.
appears.
Can
I
I,
believe in Joe Hendry.
can I just say this? And I swear I might be done being problematic. I'm probably lying.
Mm.
I think they made a mistake with making Jey Uso the Royal Rumble winner. That's not to say that John Cena should have won, because I'm past that point, even though, I wouldn't have been opposed. But I think the time to capitalize on pushing Jay to the main event scene and having the ultimate surprise was last year at Money in the Bank. Because I was watching a recap of that last year, and I was like, I don't know why they didn't capitalize on it then. I
Who
understand
won?
Drew McIntyre, which and
Yeah, Drew won last year's
What
Money
a
in the Bank.
what a waste! I
I
forgot that
love
happened.
Drew, but even at that time, I was like, why? What the fuck? Like, he made the Money in the Bank so inconsequential to push a storyline that really didn't need it, because in the grand scheme of things, who the fuck even remembers that being a part of the storyline? Punk
Yeah.
and cost him the match. He didn't need to win, but however, I think Jay should have won it last year. I think that giving him the Money in the Bank briefcase last year would have given him enough time to build, grow, and develop into the main event scene. Because right now, if you ask me, like compared to Cena and Rhodes and how they're trying to push Flair versus Stratton and all the other matches, that match seems like the one I'll probably take a pee break during. And I'm not gonna lie, it hurts me to say that, because I like Jay, I really do, but you're not selling me on this match the way you think you are.
No, I get that. And we're gonna talk about the overall just build to WrestleMania because I think that the road to WrestleMania has been a little bit weary recently. But
Hmm.
first, before we go ahead and do that, guys, we gotta go ahead and take a quick second. Let's pay some bills, and then we will be right back in a little minute. All right, folks, we back. We done paid bills, and now let's talk about NXT because I'm not gonna lie, y'all. This is slowly becoming my favorite brand to watch week by week out of the three because they have been all gas, no brakes. Shout out to Jacob Fatu. Um, they have been going crazy each and every week in terms of just in-ring work and storylines, which I think is why we're getting to see more and more main roster superstars come down to NXT and show their face a little bit more. Because this week, Sol Ruka got a shot at the United States Championship, not randomly, but randomly against Chelsea Green. That was something. I found it very funny. Someone on Twitter said Chelsea Green only wins matches when the title's on the line. I couldn't help but laugh. That 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 got a chuckle out of me.
Completely false statement. But and that's as someone that loves Chelsea Green, absolutely love her.
Oh, so you're standing with our United States champion?
Of course, she should be president.
Mm. All I'm
Would be,
saying is,
would be better than a court one. I'm not afraid to say it.
oh man, but no, honestly, that was a really good match. Sol Ruka really showed that she has the capabilities as a single star to like. This was a really big spotlight for her, and she definitely delivered. There's not much that I can really say in terms of like spots that are my favorites, but I do remember like usually whenever like main roster superstars come down, it's either to like give a rub to someone, or sometimes we'll have matches where like one person ends up getting completely like outshined in terms of like ring work, obviously because of like the years that they've been in. But this one was a relatively even matchup, and also I'm not gonna lie, the matchup of having Sol Ruka and Zarya as a tag team, that that is one of the more enjoyable parts of the NXT women's tag division, aside from the Queens, Lash and Jakar.
It's giving Team Hell No.
Yes, a
Yes.
hundred
Hell no,
percent.
with more flips.
Yes.
Yes. I love
Also,
so. Go ahead, Joe.
no, I was just gonna say I love her Soul Snatcher.
Mm,
Love it. 10 out of 10
yes.
every
I'm
time.
not. I every time I'm not gonna lie. The first time I heard that that was the name of the move, I burst down into laughter, and I can't help but do so every time.
Yes, but when you see it, it don't even matter.
Oh
Oh
my!
no, it's amazing.
It's
And
a top five finisher now.
that one
Like
women's match, I think it was it the ladder match for the North American Championship, but
I
she hit
think
like
so.
6 of them back to back. And I was like,
Hmm.
fucking love her.
Honestly, I love Sobuka. She's slowly becoming one of my favorite female wrestlers. Like I
Do
don't
we
know.
think she's do we think she's at the point where she might get the call up?
I think she has another year or two left.
Yeah, I agree. But it's crazy to see though with like NXT how how everyone's like, oh, like I could see this person being the next Randy Orton or the next John Cena, but it's like you can slowly see the development. Like I genuinely could see Sol Ruka when she's called up being like the female version of like Ricochet or Kofi Kingston, like that
Yeah.
super athletic talent in the women's division when she's called up.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I can see that. I think I honestly, I can see him holding an NXT title in the next year.
I wouldn't be mad. Honestly, I think that we need to bring back the NXT women's tag belts. My partner has been saying that for the longest, and I 100% agree. Like, I really do think that the fact that because we have obviously the men's tag belts, because the best tag team in the world, Fraxium, has them right now.
Mm,
Of course.
mm,
Uh, uh,
not the best tag team in the world.
uh,
I'm old.
okay,
I'm old head. No,
they're up there with the Hardys.
I'm talking about like Motor City Machine Guns. I'm talking.
Motor
I'm
City's
like the
Motor City's great.
Profits.
I'm never gonna look. We gonna talk about the profits later, and I'm never gonna talk bad on Motor City Machine Guns. Oh my God, I've been loving them since I did my research on their TNA work. Come on,
I was watching
but
them in TNA. Love them down.
but if we talking who is giving the most enjoyable matches as a tag team right now, Fraxium is giving everyone a run for their money.
I'm not saying they're not giving them all for that money, but like calling it the best tag team in right now is really debatable. I mean,
So
they're playing like I mean they're both like they're giving Austin Theory and Grayson Waller the fact like they're teasing they're gonna break up soon. Well, when are they gonna break up? Who's gonna do it? Who's gonna pull that trigger on being the heel between them? Who's gonna pull the Shawn Michaels and who's gonna be the Martin?
Yeah,
Like they've been teasing that for so long. I'm like, either do it or don't at this point. I don't care. But like,
I'm not gonna
the,
lie. When it comes down to Austin and Grayson, I thought that after Vengeance Day they would have split, but I guess not.
and side note, and this may be my unpopular opinion, not every tag team breakup has to have a Michaels and Janetti. Sometimes they could just break up and both of them be great. Because I think when they do break up, though, the I think Theory and Waller have the potential to be some pretty heavy hitters in the future if given proper time to develop.
I guess.
I'm
But
not
like
mad at that.
with
Like
the
I don't think
Fraxium,
either one could be a Janetti.
I feel like with Fraxium, I feel like like at least a year now, they've been teasing that like one of them is going to get angry with the other for like being not focused on the title or whatever. And like they haven't pulled the trigger. I'm like, are they going to do it at some point? Because at this point, I don't care when they're going to do it. I just
I
want
think
them to
they've
do
got too much momentum right now. They've got too much momentum, and they're finally getting their just due as a tag team like this year. So I think they're going to delay it just a little bit longer.
I agree.
I see that.
Um. Anyway, moving on to the rest of NXT. Jada Parker. Hey, Miss Parker. She came out. She first off, Jordan Grace with the SpongeBob homage, the Patrick outfit. That was hilarious.
Love her.
Um,
Understand.
that was hilarious. She came out in them giant boots, bro. Oh my God. But anyway, she just mowed through Jordan Grace when Stephanie's out there trying to give her a promo. It says, Stephanie, I want a title shot. And at first, I was like, okay, Jada Parker for the North American Women's title. I'm with it. I can deal with it. But then she says, no, I want the women's title. And I said, oh, Stephanie is about to dog walk you.
Yeah, I think. See, I'm sorry. Like Janet Parker at first, I wasn't really didn't know how I feel about her because like I didn't have anything much for her, but like she's starting to become a fan favorite, and she's like I'm starting to like her.
Mhm.
I can see her being a champion the next year as well. But yeah,
Most definitely.
she's about to get mollywopped by Stephanie.
I
I can
was like, look,
her.
I was like, look, if you want to go after the North American title, cool, I can see that. But you want the women's one. That's where I think she fucked up.
You aim high. Aim high,
That's fair.
manifest it.
That's fair.
I
However,
mean,
But
I
I
will
agree.
say Jada is great at promos, but yeah. Sorry, what were you about to say, Deja?
I was just gonna say I agree with Sears. I think in the next year, I definitely see her being the face of the women's division because Jada got next. Can't deny that. Jada got next.
Yeah.
I don't know if she got next, but
Okay, somebody's being problematic, but all right.
me problematic. That's crazy. Who would have thought?
Who
But
would
no,
have
I
thought?
I for sure see her having next, like within the next year, she could definitely be maybe not the sole face of the women's division because it's still a little too early, but I think she could definitely be one of the like leading forefront faces of the women's division.
I can see
Yeah,
that. Yeah.
absolutely. I I think the charisma that she has on mic, I think she needs to tighten up her in-ring work a little bit because there are still spots where I'm like, okay, it still feels like she kind of needs to be led through certain matches. Honestly, I think my thing with Jada Parker, even though let me preface it with, I can get behind her being a future like face of the division, like you guys have been saying. I just think that there are points that need to be polishing, and I think that she's one of these people where like even with all the acclaim that NXT is getting, there's certain people where it's like, oh, yep, this is still definitely developmental, and there are certain matches of hers where I'm like, yep, you can tell that she's still in that developmental stage.
hmm I,
Yeah,
I I agree with that. I mean, they're not. I mean, WWE's not shy about like showing that part of the NXT though. I mean, like they no like it's they're now like, not going to mention that part. But
Yeah,
like I think once we see like Stephanie Lee, we see uh, Jordan Grace Lee, we see what's her face? I can't pronounce her name. Uh, the one who just lost the world title. I can't
oh,
pronounce her name.
Julia.
Julia. Yeah. Once we see those three, leave, I think she'll be in the title picture for sure. But like
Most definitely.
as the first challenger to Stephanie, she's about to get Molly rocked. And I think this is going to lead to Stephanie having two matches at standard level, and she's going to lose the North American title.
Yeah, I I definitely can see her getting two matches that stand and deliver. First off, the fact that she wanted to be double booked and she encouraged it, I was completely like, okay, I see. I love super active defending champions, so I was fully with it.
is that not what she was doing? But like, just preface this with saying, my wrestling knowledge, I watch a lot of videos and hear a lot of commentary about other promotions, but haven't actively watched them. No. Well, was she not a double champion in the promotion she just left?
I think she was in Mexico. The CCML or whatever it's called.
Yeah,
I
Didn't
yeah,
think she was.
Mercedes? No, Mercedes took a title off of her. She didn't take. Yeah, I think she just had one when they went up against each other.
Yeah, but
yeah.
I think at some point she had two titles.
Yeah.
But no. So yeah, it's definitely in line for her. I don't know. I just feel like whenever people join the WWE and they finally do get their belts up, it always ends up being depending on whatever whoever the GM and whatever the regime wants for real, which we've seen with like how Shinsuke was booked with his horrible US title run. You feel
Um,
me? So especially with that being so recent, like I'm always a little bit wary when we see these new talents come when we see these new talents come over who have made such names outside of the WWE and then trying to figure out what their vision is once they do get the belts. You get what I'm saying?
mhm.
But with that being said, we finally got a name for the new faction. We can no longer call them Timu Shield. We can no longer call them Shield 2.0.
Who was calling them Timu Shield?
I'm not gonna lie, I was and a couple other people on Twitter.
I saw Shield
I'm also calling
2.0.
them Team Shield.
Like
Like
I saw Shield 2.0, but Timu Shield, that is so disrespectful.
Um, but they are now Dark State, and
Dark State.
Dark State is. I find it very funny that it's called Dark State, and it's three black guys and a white guy. I find that so funny. It's like Dark State with a little bit of light.
That's crazy.
uh, but no, it's Saquon Sugars, Dion Lennox, Osiris Griffin, and James Cutler. James Cutler, I've been watching on LFG, on A&E. Saquon Sugars is from DC, so I'm always support. Uh, da, 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 da. Dion Lennox, I think, has been on NXT for a little minute. He was been on NXT for a little minute. And then Osiris Griffin, I'm not too familiar on his history beforehand, but he definitely has the look and the make of a superstar. What did we think about what did we think about them attacking Tony D'Angelo, and what did we think about like their whole storyline right now?
I didn't see the segment where they attacked D'Angelo. Not gonna lie, I caught the highlight reel, and I think I must have skipped that part of the highlight.
Uh,
I think the storyline overall, I hope they stray away from trying to make it a Shield 2.0 and like really have these guys come into their own. Because I think that's why the Shield was so successful because it wasn't them
Mhm.
trying to recreate anybody else's history. It was them coming into their own. And then
yeah,
that stemming into three of the goats. I'm not even gonna lie. Like genuinely,
Yeah,
Mox, Reigns, and Rollins will go down as three of the goats of this era. So I think
absolutely.
if they stick with that, I think they'll be fine.
I'm gonna always say the Shield is the best faction since D-Generation X. So that's
I just say metal, but
Agreed. Agreed.
uh,
Better.
my thoughts about this group. Uh, I, uh, I'm always cautious about groups because wrestling companies as a whole don't know how to handle groups,
yeah.
stables. Like yes, we have the DXs, we have the Shields, we have the Evolutions,
You're
but we
exceptional.
also have the the Aces and Ace. We have Ace from TNN. That's I don't know
Yeah.
if you guys know that at all.
I
Yeah, yeah, I'm familiar.
We have the women's group PMD, PME. What they were called with Sonia,
Oh, Pure
Basil.
Fusion Collective.
That's it. Yeah.
You
The
mean the
Uh,
stud
stud
line?
line. Deja,
like
we
They
are
like
in sync.
they are the stud line. Don't
like
forget you also have the Nexus. That was one.
yes. The Nexus. Like as much
Shout
as
out Wade Barrett.
we have as many tables as we have at success, we
Yeah,
have twice or three times the amount that failed. And they're all way looking like the Shield 2.0 because they come
yeah,
in with the face covers from the outside and not acting like the Shield. So like unless they can throw a cobalt in there and like have someone review as the leader, I don't know. I'm off the fence. I'm not with it yet. Like I'm curious to see if they pull like I don't know. Have you guys played the new X-Men game at all? 2K25. Have you guys
No, I
played that
haven't
yet?
played.
Okay, I'm not gonna say anything then. But like, I'm curious to see if they do like a shock reveal or something with like a Savage Stall.
I'm not gonna lie, and we're just skipping ahead a little bit. It's funny that you mentioned the leader because so let's skip to the main event of NXT. It was Eddie Thorpe and Trick Williams in the underground match. I'm not gonna lie, the finish for that match was I, that was the worst finish I've seen for a match in a while. But
Yeah, from what I
um
saw, it didn't look all that great.
yeah, however, I did think it was cool that they had all the LFG and Evolve superstars like around the ring since it was the underground and things like that. I thought that was cool. But anyway, Dark State comes out. They're getting ready to attack they're getting ready to attack Trick because he just called out Oba because he said that he wants a rematch for the NXT championship or whatever, and they're getting ready to swarm and attack both of them. But then Javon comes out. Javon just starts attacking Frick and Oba, and then they just don't even do nothing. They just love seeing the chaos go down. But I did notice they were all looking like all of Dark State was looking like they were about to attack Oba and not Trick. It was about to be a repeat of what happened at Vengeance Day. So that's got me and a couple other people at IWC thinking, is Trick the leader? Because it's obvious that Trick is having a heel turn. Is he?
That's what
Is
I'm
he the
thinking as
leader?
well. That's what I was kind of leaning with. Like
Yeah,
it, like I just don't know that because like if they're gonna do like that, if they're gonna go that route, it has to end up with him with Tato again. And
Yeah.
I don't know how much is left with Trick in NXT.
Yeah. Because I really do think it's over. Like, I think that Trick's time at NXT is running out because I was so certain that after he lost the title, that he was going to make his main roster debut at the Rumble. He, wa- he was in Indianapolis or wherever they held it this year, and he didn't show up.
Hmm.
That was crazy to me.
yeah.
Shout out to Last Legend though. She did pop out.
Love her down. He was probably there to support. But
He was.
me personally, and this might be a problematic opinion. They
You have
need
a lot
to
of those.
extend his time in NXT because I just know when he gets to that main roster, Triple H is gonna piss me off. I love me some Trick Willie. That man is just so fine to me. And the way they've done Mello, I feel like they're gonna do Trick the same way, and he deserves so much better than that. So much better than that.
This is fair. However, let me say one thing, and Deja, you might want to shoot me for this.
Oh my
If
god.
we are running with the idea that Trick might be the leader of Dark State, and these might be his underlings, we all know that Trick can be kind of iffy when it comes to mic skills. So how do you have a leader that can't really speak?
He can be a little iffy. However, he has some pretty great promos. Just a few, I'm Trick James, bitch. That one
That
thing
that is a, that that's a good one. I can't lie. You got me there.
that one thing. Look, NXT. The whole purpose of NXT is to be a breeding ground for developing future greats. I
Hmm.
think he still has some time left on his card for NXT. I think by the time he gets to the main roster, hopefully Triple H don't piss me off. But I think by the time he gets to the main roster, the first couple months might be a little rough. I'm not gonna lie, it might be a little rough. But eventually he'll get the flow of things, and he's another one I could see up in the upper main card eventually. Because the same way
Yeah.
he is getting over, whoop that trick is for sure getting over. I'm going to be chanting that in the mania. I just know it.
Oh, absolutely. I fully believe that Trick can be one of them ones. Don't let my criticisms don't let my criticisms fool you. I fully hey, let me make this known. If anyone watched or listened to this podcast hasn't realized, if you black, I'm gonna support you. So I'm rooting for Trick. But speaking of black people at NXT, there is one match that we did kind of skip over that I want to talk about like real quick. Ricky Saints. Ricky Saints went up against Ridge Holland. I don't know why they keep trying to force Ridge Holland on us.
I'm not trying to force him on us, but like he's a good heel in the fact that like he's not popular, but and he can get heat. And I think he's a perfect person to introduce Ricky Saints to the NXT slash WWE universe.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie. I think if Ricky's like first feud, especially coming off the especially I think if Ricky's like first feud was someone like an Ethan Page because their interaction and Ethan Page calling Ricky States the outsider when it's like, oh, then what are you? That's the pot calling the kettle black. Anyway, I think that would make for a really good feud. Um,
Agreed. Side note, love
Like
Ethan Page, loving the all ego.
oh yeah, no, Ethan Page is really talented. He is someone who I expect to also not have that much time left at NXT if you catch my drift.
I can
Absolutely.
I can see that.
Um, speaking of someone who I hope is also ends up in the North American title picture soon because I think I said this last episode. I fully believe that Shawn Spears is going to be a transitional champion. Uh, we talked about Javon earlier. Javon came out and kind of got in the middle and started attacking Oba and Trick because Trick was crashing down on Javon. So, hey, Javon, get your lick back. It's time. The same way how I say Cena needs to stop putting people over this year, Javon needs to stop being nice. After Ethan messed up his smile, Javon needs to start crashing out. So I'm with it. That boy needs the North American men's title at some point, and so I think he is going to lose the triple match between the three of them at Stand and Deliver, and then he will feud with hopefully Ricky Saints for a North American title, or whoever ends up having the North American men's title after Stand and Deliver. That'll just be me.
This okay. This is my unpopular opinion,
Go
but
ahead.
I think Javon Evans needs more time to polish his skills before they get him a title.
Oh,
I love him. Well, I love it. I love the energy he brings. I love the passion. I love like the freshness. Like he's not like your stereotypical young wrestler. Like I love
yeah.
it. I love him.
Like
But
he's the young OG with a little bit of swag.
yes, however, the match that I had seen with him, there have been a lot of mistakes on his part. Like the Randy Orton match, they put him in on with the one of the greatest of all time, Randy Orton,
Yeah.
and he messed up his biggest move, the RKO.
Yeah.
Right? Like then like a couple weeks ago I watched something. There was a big mistake there. And I feel like before they can trust him with a title, they he needs to polish that up. And thankfully he's the young OG. He's 18, 19 years old. He has time. And
That's fair.
I'm not worried about him not finishing it, but not being able to do that. But like before they get him a title, he needs
Yeah.
to push it up.
No, that's true. I ain't mad at that. Um, let's see. Let me think. Is there anything else about NXT that we really need to talk about, or can we just go straight to SmackDown?
I love the fact that Charlotte Field is the North American North American champion. He like
Oh no,
he
because he's been with the company for a minute.
yeah like he was with the company for a minute, never had a title then, came back, went away, reestablished himself, came back and got it. Like masterpiece. Like I'm a big Sean Spears fan, partly because I hope it brings back the Iconics. But like I also
Ooh,
love Sean Spears. But
Iconic.
like I'm so happy that you guys title and I'm like you're probably right, like he is probably doing a transitional champion. But like I don't want him to be a transitional champion.
that's fair. Oh my God! Speaking of transitional champions, real quick, I have to backtrack real quick because we missed over a huge part of Raw. The Bianca, uh, Io, and Rhea contract signing that went into shambles
Not shambles.
because first off, Bianca comes out with the four eyes, the glasses, the fit. The fit was fitting.
The fit was fitting.
The fit was fitting. And she was there ready to do business with EO. And all of a sudden, Rhea comes in, steals the contract, and runs off. First off, that's not how contracts work, Rhea. Not just because you put your signature on it does not all of a sudden mean you are in the match.
That's not how they work. However, comma, other people have done it before. Remember, I think
It's,
it was supposed to be Roman Reigns versus Finn Balor, Cena came out and put his name on the contract. And I think this
This
was
is
the
fair.
big 21, 22.
SummerSlam, I think 21.
Yeah, somewhere around there.
This is fair. This is fair.
And like that may be the best way they have of like getting that to that triple threat.
Or are we just going to ignore the fact that she is owed a rematch? I mean, that's
They could also just use that to rationalize it. But let's be honest. They want the drama and they want the chaos. So they're probably just going to keep pushing this angle.
probably. I'm not opposed to it.
And also just for this, when they force when Triple H forced together, he like one of the first things he did was went away with the rematch clause and contract for champions. I know that's specifically. So like yeah.
Which I
Hmm.
get, but it's also kind of dumb. But
Yeah.
however, we are.
And that was GOCL, but like I know that specifically.
Yeah,
But I will say though, I am looking for this is one of the matches I am looking forward to WrestleMania weekend.
absolutely.
I love all three women. I think we need to start normalizing that women don't need to be in championship matches. So after this match, I don't want to see Rhea near another championship. Let her develop her character outside of the championship.
I'm
And
not mad at that.
I love Bianca, but I kind of want Io to win this year. Love me some Io. Love that girl down.
I want Io to, let me not say that because everyone knows I'm a fan of Bianca Cena. But I believe that Io needs to win in order to progress this story. That
Mm-hmm.
is where I believe. That is what I believe, and I believe that the writing is on the wall, especially after the last couple of weeks, where it seems like they are pushing the angle of Io trying to get her respect out of the two and not be overshadowed, even after already being the reigning champion. So I believe that Io needs to win in order to push the storyline. However, I will not doubt the power of Bianca Cena.
Yeah,
So like here's my thought to this, right? I wish this the build up for this has happened like pre-Royal Rumble.
Uh,
Like, like I wish we had a chance to see like a real versus EO match, or a full like not just on Raw, but like on pay per view. If Bianca versus EO, Rhea versus Bianca for the contendership. Like, I feel like this is like too soon. Of like, they don't need a storyline to go into it, but like, I feel like there should be more of a build up to like to this triple threat match that they're obviously gonna do.
I agree.
Like, done.
that's fair.
The build definitely
Oh,
could have been a little bit better.
oh
How,
yeah.
however, I'm always of the opinion of it's never really the talent, it's always the story. Even if the
Yes.
story is shit going into it, we already know this is about to be one banger of a match.
Oh no, for sure.
Oh, for
But
sure.
like I feel like this is like like this short thread match is like the end of the story between the three. I wish we got more of like the fill.
Yes, I can see this being the end, but like genuinely the way the stories are going, especially with Bianca being tied into the storyline with Jade and Naomi, I think this is actually very well should be the beginning of the story. Like it's going to be deeper. I feel like this will branch off into Bianca possibly trying to get a rematch against Io. It could be somebody interferes and let's hope not. But let's hope that Liv doesn't try to interfere and knock Rhea out of the match, and then that storyline continues to go on. So I feel like this very well could be
You
the
know,
beginning.
if
It
I see
could.
any more Liv and Rhea, I will probably just turn off my TV. I like them both as individual wrestlers, but please let's not push that storyline any longer than it needed.
Yeah.
It is
Wh-
done. It's dead.
What I think is gonna happen, I think we see a Bianca Tony. I've been saying this for a long time, but I think Bianca is still behind the Jay Cordell attack. I feel like her and Amy are in cahoots. I feel like Bianca's gonna win, Tony heel. Why have take out either Io or Rhea, have Riley with the other one. The third person returns, and we're gonna see why we can Bianca and that person. I think this we see Bianca return here at WrestleMania. So that's just my thought, but I could be wrong.
If Bianca if Bianca turns heel at WrestleMania, she has to keep up the undefeated streak then. Because what will be the point?
Oh no, I
Yeah,
agree.
yeah. If that is the plan, she has to give up the undefeated streak because then it does become pointless.
I agree.
But I really hope they do not. I really, really, really hope that Io wins and they do not book her as just a transitional champion. Even though not it's, being a transitional champion doesn't always hurt. Sometimes it can
Mhm.
help. We saw it last year with Drew,
Yeah,
but Io deserves better.
she does. She's
Okay?
one of the most talented in ring, regardless of company, regardless of gender.
Literally.
So I think that she definitely needs that. Real quick, are there any last thoughts that we have on this storyline regarding the contract signing, or because we were just talking about NXT as a whole, any last thoughts that we have before then?
None on NXT, but side note to the Bianca, Rhea, and Io story. The first promo they had where they kept shoving Io, I'm not gonna lie, I sat in my room screaming like, please don't keep shoving my goat. Y'all need to put some respect on her name. I just know that lady's about
Oh,
to go crazy. As soon as she starts yelling in Japanese, it's over.
oh no, no, no. Even this week, when Bianca shoved Io in the face, I said, Io, at this point, you gotta shoot Bianca. Like, what are we doing?
No, for real.
Obviously, I'm not
Put some
hoping for any
respect
harm.
on her name.
But yeah, like they've been disrespecting the hell out of Io, which I think is all gonna lead to a banger match at Mania. Again, I think we're gonna get a dope triple threat for the women's heavyweight championship. And yeah, if nobody else has any other thoughts, let's pay some bills. Let's go to commercial. We'll be back in a little bit, folks. All right, folks, we back. You know, the bills have been paid. The lights are being able to kept on in the house known as Top Rope Boys. But anyway, let's get into SmackDown. Where were they at? They were in Bologna, Italy this week, right? Yeah.
Mm.
So Randy comes out. He opens the show. First of all, the Legend Killer is back. The Viper is back. One of the goats is back. And he starts cutting his promo. He starts going off. And thank God it wasn't as long as the one that he cut last week. Because, oh my God. Actually, no. He didn't even get a chance to say nothing. Because all of a sudden, all you hear is KO's music hit. Then KO want to come out. I'm not going to lie. Serious, now that I look at you a little bit more now, you and Kevin, and I'm thinking of Kevin Owens, you and Kevin Owens, y'all kind of, you,
No.
just a,
Motherfucker.
just a little bit. But anyway,
You bald-headed motherfucker. Steph, next time I see you, it's on site. I'm gonna
any,
drop kick you.
anyway, KO comes out. He starts apologizing to Randy, like that's gonna save him. Talking about some, oh my bad. The reason that I put you on the shelf for however many months was because the voices in my head were talking. What the fuck? Anyway, what did we think?
Um, I don't think I watched the promo. I don't think I watched the SmackDown highlights other than the Punk, Reigns, and Rollins promo. But I know the match at Mania is about to fucking eat.
Yes.
Um, I fully support Demon Orton coming back. All he's missing is the baby loop. That's all he's missing is the baby
Oh,
loop.
heavily.
Heavily, heavily.
Do-
And him and KO are probably about to fucking kill each other at Mania, and I'm all for it.
Oh no,
Honestly,
an unsanctioned match I think is the only way this can go.
No, for real. Now, is it going to be as crazy as being thrown onto a stack? What the hell was that? Was it nails that Mox was thrown onto?
no, he was hit with
Yeah, it was
a
a
nail, a 2x4 that was had nails in it.
yeah.
It ain't going to be as crazy as that, but I'm all
That
for attempted murder. I'm all for
that was that was unnecessary crazy. I think if we do get another on-station fight, which I think they're gonna get more of like a street fight, more
Mhm.
than more maybe Hell in a Cell. But like this match, I honestly is probably the like least. It's probably been the most underrated match at Mania, and that says a lot about how this Mania is shaping up to be. So
Mm,
this Mania is about to be stacked. But
yeah.
like I love the promo. I love the segment. I think I don't know. I think a face Randy Orton is just I love. And I kind of go back to what we talked about earlier. What I talked about earlier, but like wait, we're living in a world right now where we have like heel John Cena and a face Randy Orton in the same company.
Insane. It's insane. Like that, I think if you had said this to anyone 10 years ago, it would blow everyone's mind.
You would be called so many crazy things that the internet wrestling community loves to call people. But like
Hmm.
this is the crazy world with it. And I think this match at Mania is gonna be the best one of the best matches, but it's gonna be the least hyped because of how stacked it is. But like
Yeah.
I love this rivalry. I love KO as a heel. I love anyone as a face. This is perfect for me.
Um, all right. So we're gonna skip through a little bit. Damian Priest and Jimmy Uso team up against Drew McIntyre and Shinsuke Nakamura. So that way we can push the Damian and Drew beef. So that way we can get their match at Mania. I'm not gonna lie. I think that the Damian and Drew match is gonna end up being a street fight because of course Damian's a street thing. That's part of his whole gimmick and all that. So
Mm,
I wouldn't be surprised they end up going down that route. That was what made me think that the Orton and KO one might be another unsanctioned one. But real quick, just moving through some of these real quick because some of these are not as important in terms, if you ask me. The Tiffany and Charlotte segment. I think this is one that we need to talk about because oh my God,
Are you gonna hate
I
on
have
women's wrestling during Women's History Month, Steph?
come on,
I'm
Steph.
not.
We're
Don't
doing?
don't do it, Steph.
Is that what we're
I'm
doing?
not.
Don't
No,
do
I'm
it,
What
actually
Steph.
we're doing?
here's what I'm gonna do. I usually do not give Charlotte Flair her props, but oh my God, did Charlotte go crazy during that segment?
She ate Tiffany up, I fear, guys.
She
Oh
needed
no.
to.
Oh my God, I felt so bad for Tiffany after watching that because it was like, what do you say to half of the things that Charlotte is saying?
She's got a shooter at this point. Genuinely, I
Also,
just saw a clip of it and I sat there the whole time and I was just like, guys, she ate her up. Like, I feel like in other feuds, and this is not saying that Tiffany won't be like feel main event ready at some point, but in other feuds, she's had like Becky to balance off and like Nia to balance off and kind of help her a little bit. With this one with Charlotte, she's like, nah, bitch, you gotta float on your own.
you doing this solo dolo.
You doing this solo dolo, and she kind of ate her up, and I was just sitting there like, wow, girl, why you let her cook you like that?
Oh
Honestly,
man.
I'm not the biggest Charlotte Flair fan. I don't know why, but like I can't watch her wrestle, and I
Oh
can't,
no, neither.
I hate her walk. But like like
She is
last
quite
week,
easily she's quite easily my least favorite of the four horsewomen.
yeah, like she's my least favorite women's wrestler right now. But like right now, like last week, it was all like the momentum was Tiffany on definitely on Tiffany's side of like the attack, and she was you. I felt like it was like perfect moment for all. This week was
Mm.
Charlotte's moment. I'm a few steps. I hate to give Charlotte a foul, but like this is a need. She needed us to make
Oh no.
this mania match more relevant. Because like this is probably the most unwanted match out of the entire setup so far. Like
Yeah, because I feel like everyone, like myself included, feels because we know Charlotte Flair's history and we know that as soon as she comes in, she gets a title, keeps it going, and also, isn't she about to break a record or something? So,
I think sure he did, but like
No, she's too shy. I think right now she's at 14.
okay. Well, either way, I feel like we all know that she's about to come in, do the Hogan thing, get the belt, and keep it moving, which sucks because I really do like Tiffany as the SmackDown Women's Champion right now. I really do think that there's potential there. It was just wow. Watching this segment, I was like, dang, I forgot. I will admit, I forgot that Charlotte has been doing this for some time. I forgot. I forgot that Charlotte was one of them ones.
For
May
sure.
not be my favorite. Not be my favorite one, but she is one of them ones.
She is for
Um,
one of those ones. I saw what did Anthony say on Facebook? He was like, the only person that ever eat up Charlotte on the mic like that was Sasha. And I was like, I'm not gonna lie. Sasha did always eat Charlotte up.
Nah, there was one Naomi promo that came across my timeline recently. It was right after Naomi had become the SmackDown Women's Champion in her hometown, where Charlotte
Hmm.
came through, and she just got right to throwing hands. She maybe said two words and then said, "Hey, we just boxed her."
I think I did see that one too. That is another one. But I
Yeah.
hope Mania, I hope some way, somehow, they just decide, we're gonna let Tiffany cook, we're gonna let her build. I don't think Charlotte needs another run, another title run. And I like
No.
Charlotte. I genuinely do. Out of all the four horsewomen, Sasha's my favorite, and then everybody else is just on an equal playing field. Because if you asked me a
Uh-huh.
few years ago, it was definitely Becky was my least favorite, but she's grown on me. I wasn't aware of her game, guys. I'm so sorry. I was not aware. But I think well, I think this match has the makings to be a surprising show stealer. I hope I don't have to eat those words later. But I think low key this might be not the match of the weekend, but definitely a contender for match of the night, whatever night it's on.
I think so too, and I hope Charlotte Flair does not walk out of Mania with that title because it ruins the whole year you spent building up Tiffany Stratton. It ruins her Money in the Bank
Yeah,
win. It ruins her cash in. It ruins everything about her. But it's gonna be hard to get that momentum back for her if she loses the match.
I'm gonna be
Yeah,
so for real, y'all. I know that she's walking out because look at the last name. Only one of them got the last. Only one of them got the last name Flair.
yeah. You
Oh,
see, if this was if Rick McMahon was still in charge, I would 100% believe that. But Tiffany Stratton is, I think, was one of Triple H's NXT goals.
that's fair.
I think he's big on Tiffany Stratton, and this would be the moment of her career. Despite winning Money in the Bank, despite winning the title, despite teaming with Trish Stratus at the last video, this would be the moment of Tiffany Stratton's career if she wins this match. This will also be the downfall of her career if she loses this match.
Hey,
I
I
don't
hope
know.
I'm wrong.
I don't know about the downfall necessarily, but I just hope they don't run into the same cycle they did with like Rhea. Because remember,
Hmm.
the first time Rhea and Charlotte faced each other, we just thought that would
Oh
kind of
yeah,
be the end of it. And then, in later years, it was a nice little thing to come back to and show how much Rhea has developed. But yeah, I agree. I don't think Charlotte necessarily needs it right now. I
Hmm.
think after this, we need to normalize not every single woman needs to be in the title pictures. Sometimes you can just have a
Yes,
feud of, bitch, I don't like you and you don't like me, so let's fight about it.
yes, I agree.
wrestling is already dragged for straight men. We can throw a little bad girls club into it too.
And we did. And, oh my god, I can't wait for you to get to Naomi. Oh my gosh.
Speaking of which, let's just jump right into it. Um, so Naomi, no, actually, let's dial back a little bit. So Jade and Liv have a match, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Because Liv interrupted Jade's interview last week, which I'm not gonna lie, Liv did not tell not one lie.
She ate her up talking about some hope you don't fall in no cars by then.
That that was crazy. So they have the match, or whatever. It's Jade's first singles match back, and yeah, it's her first singles match back. All right, and now anyone that knows me knows I love Jade Cargill down. I'm the Jade Cargill fan club president.
I don't know about
Okay,
that. Deja might be beating you for that one. I know Deja is in set in love Cardell.
I'm not gonna lie, I would drink that woman's bathwater. I hope her husband can't fight.
Like you should can fight for that title.
Like I hope her husband can't fight. I don't even like kids, but I'd be a really good stepmom. I,
And
I I love Jade Cargill. Okay. Oh my god. Like
no, I respect it. I feel you. I'm right there with you. Look, we 1-on-1,
we're
but
here.
exactly simpatico. Anyway, but so the match starts and Jade has a really strong outing. I'm not gonna lie. I was worried about ring rust, and I will not lie. There were still some instances of ring rust there, and I've been very, very, very outspoken about Jade being the least how do I say this in not a negative way? Being the one with being the one with the most room to improve out of the big three. But then again, she's
Mm.
also the one with the least amount of years in the business. She's
Yeah,
still green, which I think people forget a
yeah.
lot.
She this is only like year 3 or 4 volt, I think.
Yeah.
Like
So,
she, yeah.
but it's very obvious that the WWE sees her to be a star, much like how we all see her to be a star. So of course
Hmm.
she's getting put in these big pictures, and she is the catalyst of what I believe is the best story in the women's division right now. That's point blank period.
Yeah,
But
I agree with that.
but Jade and Liv have their match. They go back and forth. Liv tries to run out of the match, which I'm not gonna lie was very hilarious. Um, and then Jade looking like what Jordan Grace called on Twitter a sexy elf. Those are Jordan Grace's words, not mine. Jade grabs Liv by her hair and pulls her and throws her back into the match. And it was at that point I said, "Oh, she's not winning this match." I was like, "You should have just let her leave, Jade." Because little do we know, Naomi comes down from the heavens to interfere. Naomi pops up, interferes, and first off, can I just say, Naomi, Naomi. Actually, let me not even speak to Naomi. Trinity, you amazing human being. You wonderful human being. I love you so much. I love you so much as a heel. Because the caution tape gear, throwing Jade onto the table, mocking her movements, it is in terms of heel work. Oh, she's up there with Mustafa Ali as some of my favorite heels right now. I, I promise you. Hey, Naomi, you may be wrong, but I will stand beside you with your rights and your wrongs. Let that be known. I hate seeing my favorites fight, but I can't lie, that was entertaining. Deja, Sears, I know y'all got some thoughts on that whole sequence, so please
Go
let me
ahead,
stop
Asia.
talking.
I think in terms of well, I can't speak for everybody, but I know for the wrestling girlies, we are all excited. We are all very shook up. I think this has the potential to be a solid match. I don't necessarily think it's going to be like a show stealer in terms of like wrestling quality, but I feel like in terms of storyline, this is probably going to be like a contender for storyline of the year. And I agree back to, I think Sear said it earlier where Bianca may somehow be the mastermind of this. I definitely believe Naomi was the one to knock her ass onto that car. And the way she, like, yeah, it had to have been Naomi because I just don't see Bianca beating the brakes off of Jade like that. I just don't. I don't. But I think some way, somehow, they're going to tie this back to some sort of like jealousy and maybe like the newcomer coming
Hmm.
along and like, oh, maybe you guys try to replace me. I don't know. I don't know. I don't even know if I see Bianca turning heel. Like, I don't know. But that's a story for a different day. But I definitely think this is going to be a solid match. And I just know the fits are going to eat.
Oh,
That's
absolutely.
the fits are going to eat. And in terms of storyline, this is going to be a solid match.
Yeah,
Oh, for
I
sure.
agree with that. I mean, like Steph said, this is probably in the women's division right now. This is probably the best story, and because it impacts so many different levels. It impacts Jade and Naomi, but it also impacts the Raw Women's title.
Hmm.
And I truly do think that this is like all gonna. I've been saying it for about a year now. This is gonna end with Bianca being heel and being like the mastermind that did this. Right now, it's giving the Rock and Rikishi. I did it for the Rock back in 2001.
Yeah.
Y'all
But
leave the
like,
fish alone.
but like, I agree with Deja. This matchup with Mania is not gonna be the best, but wise, it's gonna be the best. Like in terms of
Oh,
like telling a
absolutely.
story, and like I'm not gonna lie, I was hesitant on a heel Naomi. So I did not know what to expect from the heel Naomi because I thought almost the entire time in WWE she's been a face of Funk
Hmm.
Attack Doors.
But remember
Uh,
in 2015, she was a heel and
with Team Bad or was
yeah.
it with
Well,
yeah she
And
wasn't the main.
then
it seemed bad.
her run with Tamina was also as
The
a
mother.
heel.
Wasn't that Team Bad?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm tweaking. I'm tweaking. My
But
bad.
then they
I
had a
didn't
separate
realize that.
run afterwards because remember they like kicked Sasha out because then Sasha was becoming a face, and then it was
Oh
just
yeah.
to mother.
Yeah, that I don't remember that, and it was very memorable. Memorable, and, like a lot of people associate Naomi as a face. So like her doing all this on Friday made me feel a lot more confident in her being a heel. I mean, treating what she's going to do post Mania in
Hmm.
terms of being a heel. But like with Jade right now, this is perfect for both of them. So this is Jade's first big storyline. She just ate her first loss, so she's going to win at Mania, I would think. But like, this is Jade's first big storyline in the WWE. So
Yeah.
like the storytelling, and I think Naomi's the perfect one to help carry Jade through it, to help set her up for success down the road.
I'm not gonna lie. If we're talking WrestleMania once out of this feud, I need to hear. I need to hear. I'm a man. I'm a man. That is the like that theme had to grow on me as a fan, but I'm not gonna lie. It fits the character now. It hits. I need it. But yeah, I think what Sierra said is exactly right. I think that Naomi is the perfect person to lead and to really give Jade the leverage to help push this feud, especially with it being again her first big feud in the company and things like that. So yeah, I think we're gonna talk a little bit more, hopefully, if things go how I plan. Um, about Jade possibly being always paired with someone throughout her time here, because there's some developments that happened this weekend that I think could also tie into this. But real quick, does anyone have any last thoughts on the Jade and Liv match and the Naomi segment before we move into the rest of SmackDown?
Um, 10 out of 10. Absolutely love it. I can't wait to see what else heel Naomi does. I hope they keep up this momentum with Jade, and I hope this is the start of a fantastic singles career for her because we know that she has the potential to be
Mm-hmm.
one of those major key factors of the women's division, if not
Mm-hmm.
eventually the
Absolutely.
face of the women's division. But we'll see because Daddy H will eventually disappoint me at some point. So who
I
knows?
Jade Carter is a feature of the women's division. Because
For
again,
sure.
she's only year 3 or 4 in. I don't know how old she is, but like she's definitely setting up to be one of the key persons of the future. Like, so I'm excited to see how it goes, and I want to have confidence in Triple H and that he'll do the right thing. But like, in terms of long story, I'm intrigued. So let's go for the ride.
She, yeah, and like you said, she's only 32, so like she definitely still has time to really be like the face of the
Mm-hmm.
women's division in the future. So I'm not against any of
She's
what
a
you guys
little
said at all.
bit older than, oh no, she is 32. I thought she was a little bit older than that.
Mm. But real quick, I do want to touch on this. That Street Profits and Los Garza match, man, man, was I impressed, especially with Montez Ford. I the same way how Deja is delusional and thinks that Dirty Dom will dethrone Cody. I am delusional, and I think that Montez Ford, if you gave him the opportunity and the push, he could dethrone Cody.
First of all, why do I have to catch a stray? Secondly, I'm not being delusional. I'm just being realistic. It's gonna happen, guys. It's gonna
Okay,
happen. I will take Dirty Dom dethroning Cody over Logan touching anything. And unfortunately, I just know that man will piss me off and push Logan Paul to do something. Sorry, that was my I hate Logan Paul moment. But Dirty Dom is going to be the one to dethrone Cody. It's going to happen. This is the year of Dirty Dom.
Okay, that's crazy, but
All right.
He does
Anyway,
deserve putting some respect on my goat's name. He is a 20-year vet. Let's treat him like it.
yeah, 20 about being a jackass, but
I love this. I love this so much. But no, so the Profits, they didn't have their first title defense, but they had their first match as champions in Bologna against Los Garza because
I wasn't for
Santos,
that wasn't for the title.
nope,
Oh,
because
did
next week against Pretty Deadly's for the title.
yes. Okay. Okay. Yes.
But yeah, so Santos, Humberto, and I'm blanking on health. Wow. I'm a huge I do like Los
A-
Garza, so I kind
Angel
of enjoy
Garza.
that. Yeah. So they come out, they interrupt the Street Profits promo and celebration after winning the titles and they get into a match. And like I said, man, Montez Ford. Not to throw any less shine on Angelo Dawkins because he's also incredibly talented, but there is something incredibly special about Montez Ford, bro. Because there is a particular spot where they are trying where I think it was Angel was trying to take down Montez and then he just completely shrugs it off and then looks dead into the camera with a small little smirk. And I thought it reminded me of like when the Undertaker would just like eat other people's moves and keep it pushing and then just dominate. I
Mhm.
got chills low key watching that. But I think the same way how we were talking about how the Raw tag team division is incredibly in disarray, the SmackDown tag team division is the complete opposite. They are stacked.
Yes.
But anyway, Sears, Deja, if you guys have any thoughts on that match, please let's go ahead and
Unfortunately, that was another one that I just saw in the highlight reel, but I did see that one moment, and I'm not gonna lie, shit had me going crazy as well. Montez is definitely that man, and I don't see him dethroning Cody because it's gonna be dumb. But I think it when given the space and opportunity, Montez is gonna be another one that they can definitely build a division around. And I'm not gonna sleep on Angelo either, because low key Dawkins, I'm telling y'all, don't sleep on him.
oh no no
Yeah.
no. Dawkins is that dude.
So that's just my thoughts of another great match from one of the best tag teams in the division right now, if not the best.
Honestly, that match was a we'll still heel moment for the Street Profits because like everybody, including myself, have been like so hyped up about DIY, this
Mhm.
Motor City Machine Guns, other tag teams that like we forgot that the Street Profits are them. They are that team. So like, this was a come to Jesus moment for a lot of fans, and it was needed for everybody, including the Street Profits. It's back to
Yeah.
form for them now.
Because bro, it has been too long since they touched gold. Because before last week it was 4 years, right?
About yeah,
Anyway, now let's talk. Let's get to the meat and potatoes. Let's get to what everyone's talking about when it comes to SmackDown this week. The Tribal Chief came back. I don't know. I don't know about y'all, but I threw up my ones. I had my ones up.
I threw my one up. The
There we
PTO is
go.
over, guys.
Exactly. The
not,
PTO is over.
not to pay time off.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Because Roman, he loves to catch his PTO.
I mean, well, he owned it.
He did earn it, but however, you need to get your ass here.
But no. So Roman comes in. He walks in with the wise man. He says, "Hey, your Tribal Chief is here. Hey, Punk screwed me over in the Royal Rumble. Hey, so I went ahead and screwed over Punk. Seth was there too. Y'all know how I feel about Seth. I took out my anger on Seth. Fuck it. It's up." And he said, if anyone want to come on here, say somebody. Talk, come, come talk to your tribal chief. And then what do we hear? Then wait, was it Seth that came out first or was it Punk? I think it was Punk.
It
I
was
think it was
it,
Seth.
No, it was Seth. I'm tweaking. Then we hear then we hear Seth's music hit. I was like, oh shit. Oh shit. Yeah. So Seth comes out, they have their little face off, they have their little interaction. We've seen this dance go down multiple times before, so I wasn't really like too like intrigued by it. But then that motherfucking cult of personality hits. Oh, that's when I was in that bitch like, oh, I'm ready. I'm ready to rock. Ah, I got turned. So Punk comes out, and you know when Punk gets a mic, that's not a
Like,
mic in his hand. That's a pipe bomb. First off, he called Roman Big Chief, and then he called Seth Grimace. Excuse me.
I swear I was the only one that popped for that. I was the only one that popped for that.
That was the funniest thing I had ever seen. That was hilarious. Because in what you know what? I just love CM Punk on the mic. One of the best to do it, in my opinion.
Agreed.
he best to do it on the bike. I don't know what you got to talk about.
Yeah. But anyway, real quick, what do you guys think about that segment?
Seriously, you go first. I went first last time.
It was needed. I think they've been like teasing it for so long, and like last week was kind of like the final nail in the coffin. This week, Palmer just made this match the most hype. I think the most anticipated match of WrestleMania. I feel like this is like prime time storytelling. Like this goes back to 2012
Yeah.
when the Sheer Force started out, and I don't know if you guys remember this, but she was brought in as bodyguards for
They were bodyguards for Punk, right?
yeah. hmm So like this is long term storytelling, and I love the fact that they're playing into it, and I love the fact they're playing into Paul Heyman and CM Punk's relationship. They're using all the factors they can with us, and I'm assess. This is going to be a wall at WrestleMania, and
Has to
I'm
be.
hyped.
Has to be. There's too much anger. There's too much emotion into this. And even just jumping ahead, even with how they closed out the show, with them just throwing hands, duking it out for like the
hmm
last 3, 4 minutes of the show.
hmm
Yeah, they gotta want to kill each other going into Mania.
I
Deja, what do
agree.
you think?
First of all, I'm happy that this match is actually happening. I'm also happy the fact that triple threats automatically come with a no DQ rule because
hmm
we already know these three absolutely fucking hate each other. We're gonna rewind it back for a second because I'm still on the Seth Rollins curb stomping Roman Reigns with both feet. If that right there does not tell you how much he hates that man, I don't know what else will.
Oh
Now,
no, absolutely.
jumping back to it, this is why I said the IWC is toxic. But for Dave Meltzer to perch his lips to even begin to say they don't have any history, we've already, like Sears just said, we established that this goes as far back as 2012. They've easily set up, even if there was no quote unquote history, they've easily set up in the last few weeks as to why these three men all hate each other. They
Yeah,
already established that. So just removing the story from it, I think this is genuinely three of the biggest stars in the company right now, as well as three of the biggest stars of all time finally come together and going head to
hmm
head. Where this match will actually fall on the Mania card, I don't know. It's kind of interesting to see because, like I said earlier, the way things are going, I think the Rumble winners have been outshined, and I don't think
Yes.
either of them will be main eventing. If they do, I would genuinely be surprised. But I think this will probably be match of the weekend. Like
Yes.
wholeheartedly, this will be match of the weekend. Who's gonna win? Who's gonna take it? I don't know. And that's
That
what I like. I like an unpredictable match.
yes.
same.
That's the exciting part about this. It's like not only the match itself is gonna be fun, but like the build up to it is gonna be amazing. Because we have Seth Rollins who can throw it down the mic. We have CM
Yeah,
Punk who's gonna be shooting pipe bombs after pipe bombs. And then not only do we have Roman Reigns on the mic, who hasn't proven on the mic skills, but we get Paul Heyman on the mic for
Mm-hmm.
this build
oh,
up. The greatest,
oh,
the greatest manager of all time. The build up to this match is gonna be fire for then like like Deja said, they can like I don't know who's gonna win. We don't know how he's gonna end. He just thought of the thought, what if Punk uses his fable with Heyman and Heyman turns on women?
I was just about
That's
to.
what I'm thinking.
That
Like
picture is still looming over the match, and I don't know how it's gonna play into it, but I know it's about to be some like fucker where we're just gonna sit there, mouth on the floor.
what if shock factor, what if Heyman goes with Seth Rollins? What if Roman Reigns angle with Seth Rollins or vice versa causes them a match? What if anything can happen in this match? And like I like to think I know was going to happen in each match. I like to think Cena's going to win, Davis is going to win. This match, I don't know. I genuinely do not know, and that is sick to me.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the most exciting parts about this match, honestly. Excuse me. But yeah, I think it's one of the most exciting parts about this match, how unpredictable it is going in. Because these are three heavy hitters. Seth is a company boy down. Roman held the company on his back for the longest as the tribal chief. And Punk is Punk. He was a name that these folks were chanting for 10 years when he was gone, man. So
And we
when
will.
Let's not forget there were plenty of Roman Reigns main events where they were all chanted for CM Punk. So
Royal
yeah,
he
Rumbles.
had to do it.
Like anytime they're in Chicago before CM Punk came back. See, all we hold is CM Punk.
Not
Like
even
CM,
Chicago. There was a Mania main event, and I can't remember which Mania it was, where it was Reigns and Lesnar, and they were chanting CM Punk by the end of it.
mhm. Like
yeah.
CM Punk, I think can be argued as one of the greatest, like one of the wrestlers with the greatest impacts on this industry. And I don't know, like this match is going to be so exciting because anyone, I do think I think Punk's going to win, but
Mm.
I think anyone can win it at the end of the
Absolutely. I
day.
think anyone can walk away from this and it would be completely justified. Um, does anyone have
But
any last minute thoughts on SmackDown as a whole before we kind of close this out?
I also just want to add, with genuine heat with that match with Punk, Reigns, like I don't think Rollins and Punk actually like each other. I don't know if Reigns and Punk actually like each other. So they're actually heat going into this, and then we have the
Oh
best
yeah.
friends Rollins and Reigns in real life. Like I think the best work is done when like professionals can put aside the personal issues and use the issues to put on a bang, and I think that's what's gonna happen.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We know that no. Let's take Seth and Punk out of this. We know that Colby and Phil do not like each other.
No, they do not.
They do not. I agree with Sears. I think there's a lot of behind the scenes tension that honestly I don't even concern myself with. That ain't got nothing to do with me. But I do think that the real life disdain that they may have for Punk definitely adds an extra gear to this match, which makes it that much more exciting because you can tell a lot of the shit that Seth is saying is coming from the heart. That's how that man genuinely feels. And a
Mm-hmm.
lot of the shit that
Yeah.
Punk is saying is how that man genuinely feels. I think this is the culmination of, like I said, three of the goats, like men who have had an impact, like a major impact on the industry, whether it be within the last 10 years or so. I think it's for sure going to be match of the weekend. My overall thoughts for SmackDown was this definitely this has definitely been one of the better SmackDowns in recent weeks, considering the fact that
Absolutely.
they have definitely steered away from making SmackDown the A show and it started to feel like a B show. I think this helped turn that around.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I'm gonna let Daddy H cook. Hopefully, he don't disappoint me.
Oh man. In that case, then, first off, I want to thank Sears. I want to thank Deja for joining me on this episode of the Top Rope Boys podcast. You guys have been great. I hope that you guys will come back sometime soon. I hope that you guys had fun, all that jazz. You know, ladies and gentlemen, when it comes to everything in the square circle, please know the Top Rope Boys podcast is your premier destination. It's the Bajan Bulldozer, the Straight Edge Superstar, the Chocolate City Saint, the Cameroonian Nightmare, the Top Rope Dragon, the Left Hand of Destruction. It's your boy Steph, and we are gone. We are out of here. Deja Sears, is there anything you want to tell people, anything you want to plug before we get on up out of here?
Normalize not being toxic on Twitter. because the IWC can be a little toxic. And let's just enjoy Mania. Let's just take all the behind the scenes and heat and all this shit. Let's just have a solid ass Mania and enjoy a culmination of a year worth of wrestling.
I ain't mad at
Let's
that. Serious?
let's enjoy the like they just said. Let's enjoy the ride of WrestleMania. The road is always a fun one, and let's all hope and pray that Aleister Black comes back after Mania and is world champion one day.
Oh,
I'm with that.
and Cena number 17, baby. It's happening. I forgot my
And
fucking
Dom
note. Number
Absolutely.
17.
and Dom's not winning the world title off of them. That's also what we want to go for. That's all I
All
gotta
right, ladies
add.
and gentlemen, that's the Top Rope Boys podcast. Peace. We out.